This is a video on the chapter circles, and it's not really going to be a tutorial. We're not going to teach you anything. It's going to be a sort of briefing on the chapter. I'm going to give you a few tips over here, and you're probably wondering why we're not teaching you. The reason is we can't teach anything. There are just, I think, 17 or 18 theorems which are there in your chapter, and the only way to do this chapter is to know those well. And by knowing those well, I don't mean going to your book and just memorizing the wording of each theorem, but I mean actually knowing how all of them came about. Even if the proof isn't in your syllabus, if you just know how it came about, trust me, it's going to make things much more clearer. That's going to help a lot. And uh, you need to practice so much in this chapter that if I give you a question, you should just be able to look at the diagram, and in an instant you should be able to tell what's the logic behind the sum, what theorem do you have to use, or what is being tested over here. So that's the extent to which you need to practice. And the reason I'm saying this, it's a very important chapter because I just looked at the pattern of this chapter in the board papers. I can tell you that in our board paper, they honestly caught a lot of us by surprise. They gave a tangent question, and uh, it was actually one involving P into PB equal to PD squared. That formula is usually neglected. The others are given more prominence. So that came in section A, and I know people who lost marks over there. So there's no way you can leave even one property out because you never know. Anything can happen over here. And there's always a question in section B, and as far as I can see, at least in the recent papers, there's always a question section A as well. So you never know what's going to come. So the only way to do this, and you have to do it, is to practice. So it could be the difference between a 73 and an 80. So now first I'm just going to tell you that the proofs that we had to do, I don't know, probably the syllabus has changed or maybe it's the same, I don't know that. But I'm just telling you the proofs that we had to do. The first one was where you have a circle, there's a center, you have a chord, and you draw a line that bisects the chord from the center. And what you need to prove that the angle over here is a perpendicular 90-degree angle. So that was the first one. I think it's the first theorem in the chapter also. So that's an easy one. The second one, which I think you guys should focus on, is the one with the three cases where the angle subtended at the center is double of the angle subtended in any other part of the circle. It looks something like this. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. There were two other cases. So, uh, and then we came to, there was the very, very, very easy one, which was to prove that the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. That is, I think, as far as I remember, it's like a two-step derivation. That's very easy, and I think it's come also once or twice before, so you should do it still. And the last one is the alternate segment theorem, which is a bit tricky, but I'm sure if you practice, it's going to, you'll surely get it. So it looks something like this. And you had another case, I think, something like this, yeah. So I can tell you about proofs. The thing is, you don't just read them and read how it is derived right before the exam. I think that's a mistake I made in the first term, second terms. What you actually need to do is sit and derive them yourself and prove them. Just take a register or any piece of paper, derive all of them, and if not once, it'd be much better if you do it twice or thrice or as many times as you want. And I think these ones are the comparatively easy ones. This one over here has three cases, so it's actually three proofs together, so you should definitely do this. And this is a slightly tricky one, it takes a bit of time to sink in. So do these two especially really well, but don't neglect the others. And as I said, the other properties, there are loads, and the only thing I can tell you is that the two parts, The first part is all about circles and chords and arcs and cyclic quadrilaterals, but the second part is about tangents. And I can tell you that if you were to do one of the parts better than the other, I'd suggest you concentrate on the tangent bit, because that's one which people overlook most of the time. So don't leave that out, even though it's right at the end. I know in your ML Agarwal textbook as well, it's last exercise, but don't neglect it at all. And don't leave any property out, because as I said, any question could come from any property. So never just rely on what's come in the past, whether this property has ever been tested or not. Just do all of them really thoroughly. And also, if you're going to do math later, this will come in a lot of use. So anyway, there should be no point of leaving anything out from here. So also to help you in all this, I think we'll be uploading a few documents, a few scanned documents of a few notes that we have. So that has a few proofs. Not all of them are coming, but that's just there for your reference. It doesn't have all of them, but it has, I think, 7 or 8. So that's it in this chapter, and uh, this is one of the chapters along with trigonometry and I think similarity as well, that we can't do any questions with you, because simply because there's so many questions that can be asked. There's a whole range of questions that, if I were to list down all the types of questions, it'd probably be more than 60 or 70. So the only way to do it is for you to do it individually. And of course, if you have any doubt over there, I think between the two of us, we have most of the textbooks that are out there. So you can always tell us what page number, what the question is, and we'll surely solve it as soon as we can. Or if not, you can scan it, take a photo of it, or whatever, type it out if you really want. So that's all for this chapter. Um, Sorry, but there's nothing that we can teach you over here. We've told you all that we could, just little tips from our side. But again, any doubt in any proving sum or any finding the value sort of sum, I think you should contact someone, if not us. Please contact our teachers, because it carries a lot of weightage. And at the last day, when you look at your board exam, and you'll say that I just neglected that one line at the end of the page, and that's cost me like 3 marks. So you don't want that to happen, and it's a really important chapter. So definitely don't leave anything out. And so if you have any doubt, don't just leave it like that. Ask us, because you never know, it can come. So that's it for now, and ask us if you have a doubt. And also, we haven't really compiled everything yet, but I can tell you that maybe in the list that you get, there will probably be a separate folder for documents. So if we do upload those documents of the proofs, they will be there. Maybe there'll be a folder called documents. You can look for that. But we'll be putting up an instructions document. So at the time of compiling, we'll definitely mention this over there. That's all for now.